2 minutes to go. Wingate won't let Porter get the shot off. Drexler fires a three and hits it. And it's a 2-point game.
Who has checked in, replacing Bill Cartwright. And Jordan stopped from behind by Robinson. Here comes Drexler. Yes! Clyde Drexler serving up a facial.
Clyde Drexler may be the best at seeing an open seam and then getting there quickly because of the long strides, the explosiveness that he has.
I'm going to say this. Clyde, I got Clyde when he was in his prime, very, very in his prime. And it was a rival with Portland and Seattle at the time. I was a youngster coming in. Clyde had already established everything, all-stars, everything. And it was a pleasure to play against him because it was all competitive because that Portland team was a monster. They had everybody at every position. They were winning almost 50 games a year all the time. And everybody knew what they were going to bring to the table, and they were going to be in the playoffs or in the finals anywhere they got any all time.
What was it like? Take me to a day, a week, a month, a season to what it was like being a Phi Slama Jama member.
Well, Troy, a Phi Slama Jama was like being with the Beatles. Even on campus, I mean, we could do no wrong. But you got to remember, we came from nowhere. Our team was a bunch of overachievers, guys who were hustlers, who all came together. And once we came together, it was all over. We had tons of talent. We were the first team that played completely way above the rim. We ran and gunned. We had a great setup offense if we had to. We were really good defensively. We could shut teams out. We could rebound. I mean, we had a very solid team coached by Guy Lewis. And it was fun to play on a team where Coach has complete confidence as a captain. You know, my job was basically to kind of keep the guys from having too much fun because our guys had a tendency to come to the game after having a couple of brews. Way back then, right? And a couple other things, Gary. I ain't gonna mention them. But so to get everybody to stay on the same page was a chore, let me tell you, because everyone was treated like a rock star.
So Clyde, how did you guys lose the championship being such a favorite?
Well, as you know, Gary, the best team doesn't always win.
Right.
And let me tell you, in the championship game, the one you're referring to is probably North Carolina State, 1983.
Right.
You know, I played about 12 minutes in that game. I had 4 fouls in the first 5 minutes of the game. And I had never fouled out of any game, right? So to get 4 fouls, that tells you something's going on here.
Yeah, you have more bad calls, though.
Comes out to Drexler. Watch this one now. On the charge. Smart play. That score on him. Drexler has committed. He scored. Smart play by Gannon. Now he did one thing there that might have got him in trouble. He grabs Drexler by the legs. Watch this right here. But he wasn't worried about anything other than getting the foul. See him right there? He goes for the tackle to make sure that there's a charge. A lot of fans didn't like the call, including Guy Lewis.
Yo, some terrible calls. Okay? But I'm not
call.
going to say that. I'm not going to say that. It's too many years.
I'll say it.
So they took me out the game. They took a guy named Larry Mishaw out the game. He had 3 or 4 fouls. So they took 2 of your best players out of the game. Now, even with that, we were up 6 points with about a minute and a half to play. They had to foul, and our guys had to miss free throws in order for them to come back and win. So, but the funny thing is, they did it to Virginia. They did it to North Carolina with Perkins and Worthy and Michael. They did it to a bunch of teams the same exact way, where they were down 4 or 5 points. They had to foul, and you had to miss your free throws, and they had to come back down and score. And they ended up winning almost 5 or 6 games during that tournament the exact same way.
Well, I got something that GP and TV don't have. I knew when you first came here. You had that Jerry Curl man come out to Houston, bro.
Man, that was my hair, Terrell. Come on.
You used to get your hair done at this place called Fridays on Union Avenue. So the the kids would call me in my hood and say, "Hey man, Clyde and Mercy, they getting their hair done. Come check me out." I would go to Fridays, and we would look in the window and see you getting your hair done. You would come out, and we would say, "What's up, Clyde?" And you would say, "What's up, y'all?" And that was the biggest thing for us, Clyde. You just saying hello to us. That's the first one, all right? We had your red and white kangaroos. I had your poster, man, with those red kangaroos, and you had that Hughes brother old a pilot hat on.
Yeah. Taking flight.
Yeah.
Flight.
So I had that on my wall.
Let me tell you something, Terrell. Those are good memories.
Yeah, man.
When you think about this, Terrell, I'm coming from Houston, and I went to all-black high school, all-black junior high, all-black elementary, black church. I grew up in a black church, inner city Houston. I go to Portland, and I'm going, where are the black people? Where do they hang out at? Well, I found the barbershop. And back in the day, now, Gary, you'll remember this. Some of these millennials won't know what I'm talking about. But I had to find the black record shop.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it was also on Williams.
Yeah. You gotta get all the little 45s and 33s you played on the man.
Exactly. Because let me tell you, they were not going to be played on the radio in Portland.
Right. You know what, Clyde? You was the in preseason and my regular season games. My first game into the league in '91. We played against you and the Trailblazers in Eugene at the University of Oregon. That was my first time playing against you. Highlight of my life. And then the first game was against you guys in '91, man. And when Mark Price was injured, so I had to start. And I was terrified, man. I was terrified.
Well, I remember, we grew up watching you. When you played in high school, we would all go to the game. Terrell used to put on a show, dude.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother.
When I was a kid, 14, 15, I would get to the Rockets game early, like 2 hours early, just so I could see them warm up, so I could see what they do, so I could go home to practice, right? So Calvin Murphy would come out there jumping up and down. He wore like 7, 8 pair of socks, no joke. And he was springy, right? He's 5'9", but his stop and pop move was the best I've ever seen. But every shot he took in warm up, the guy never missed. He would make, and he would barely trickle the nets, right? And I used to go home and almost cry, going, man, I can't even make shots, let alone not touch the rim. And so I almost thought, I'm never gonna make this because I can't shoot like Calvin. Come to find out, he's one of the greatest shooters that ever lived, right? He's one of 2 guys who's under 6 feet in the Basketball Hall of Fame. And Slater Martin was the other one. Calvin Murphy is still living. So he's the only guy now under 6 feet. Tells you a lot about Calvin Murphy. Team camaraderie is everything. So you never get mad. It's all about, that's your brother. I know you were trying to catch me. We'll hook up next time. I appreciate the thought. That's just leadership.
You know what, Clyde, that reminds me of, and we did think about it, that you never did do that. Every teammate that you played with, you always patted them on the back. You always gave them encouragement. You always did that. And that was a good thing. That was a great thing for all of us and young kids to learn.
What hurt worse, man, losing that because at one time they were saying you and MJ were the top players in the world. And then when y'all made in the finals, what hurt worse? Losing to the Bulls in the final or losing to North Carolina State on that Lorenzo Charles putback?
Well, all the guys can tell you, every one of them hurt because you never want to lose. But let me tell you what I do know, and I've been saying this. I'll tell you what I know because I've been saying this for years, Troy. This is a team game. The best team will always win. And if you're a great player, you can have 50 points and 25 rebounds in a game. But if I got 2 free throws and we're down by 1 and I miss them both and we lose, does that mean you're not a champion? And I tell guys, this is not golf, this is not tennis, this is basketball. And then you got a guy on the other team who didn't even play. He gets a championship ring. Is he really a champion? I mean, think about that. So you gotta, never, that's the way I look at it. It ain't gonna ever change, trust me. Will Chamberlain, in my opinion, the greatest single player ever to play in this game, 50 and 25 in 1 year. He didn't get, Bill Russell had more championships because he had better support system. Thank you.
Jordan stripped by Drexler. 3-on-2. Percy. Porter gave it back. Drexler.